Good morning, my fellow Malaysians. This is Dr.K.N.Singh from Johor Bahru. This year 2020 has really been a bad year for all of us, and we started off by having this COVID, which came onto us quietly while the politicians were busy and the present government was trying to find ways to take over the country through the back door. This is when all this happened. And now that the backdoor government has been entrenched in the government machinery, we are having more and more problems. The problem is that none of us are willing to say anything about it, and that's why they keep on compounding. Now let's have a look at the budget. The present budget, 322.5 billion. I mean, this is one of the weirdest budgets we have ever seen in our country. And this is not really to help the whole country. It is just to help one race and to make a mockery of the distribution of the wealth of the country for the benefit of the people. For example, this is purely a pro-Malay budget. Can you imagine that they have allocated 1.4 billion for Islamic affairs? I mean, other communities also exist. How come they've got no help for that? Then they've created 4.6 billion for Bumiputra entrepreneurs. I mean, other Malaysians are entrepreneurs too and more successful. How come they're not getting any help? They've got 6.5 billion, to help to improve the Bumiputra institutions. Now we've got other institutions in the country. How come they're not getting any help? I mean, this is purely a divisive budget, totally a divisive budget. I mean, how can you have a budget that just takes care of one community, the Malay community of this country? Okay, you are 60%, but 40% of the people are also Malaysians. They also need to be taken care of. The whole problem is, sadly, that nobody wants to stand up and say anything about it, because for a very simple reason that their little rice bowl will get threatened and they're scared they might be thrown in jail, which is a possibility, and nobody is willing to speak out. But unfortunately, unless we speak out, I mean, the whole country is finished, totally finished. Somebody has to speak out. Now, we elected you members of parliament to represent our views in the parliament. And, I think it's time you all stop bickering and start presenting the public's views. This budget honestly cannot be passed unless it is changed. I mean, how can you have a budget which just takes care of one community, one race in the whole Malaysian population? I mean, we have empowered you MPs to speak for us and not to just keep quiet and look after your rice bowl. You should not allow this budget to be passed unless it is amended to help all Malaysians. For the first time, there's been a budget that only looks after Bumiputra. This never happened before. I mean, it is totally ridiculous. Where is this going to lead us? Now, unfortunately, this is pure politics, even in the budget. Now you have a Malay budget now for the Malay Bumiputras. Now, unfortunately, the non-Bumiputras or the non-Malays even will not speak against the budget because they are afraid of upsetting the Malays. Now, the MPs who are moderate, MPs who are enlightened Malays, and also the Indian and Chinese MPs will not speak because they are afraid of alienating the Malay population. I mean, this is all to the advantage of the present ruling government. You see, it is sad. Somebody has to speak up about this. And honestly, this budget cannot be passed. If this is passed by the MPs of the Malaysian government, I'm sorry, you have totally you know, deprived yourself of the people's trust. You were elected to speak for us. Now you are now speaking, siding the government and doing what you know is totally wrong and should never, never be allowed. Unless amended, this should never be passed. And you see, this is your only chance, you MPs, to bring this backdoor government down. Because if you do not pass this budget, the Prime Minister will be forced to get his numbers in order and go back to the Parliament and get a recognition of no confidence, and make sure this no confidence motion is debated. And if he has the confidence, go ahead. If he does not have the confidence, I'm sorry, the parliamentarians will have to do what is necessary. Now, don't blow your chance. This is the only chance you have. And please remember, there are just 2+ years left to the next general election. The Malaysian people are watching. They are watching you very, very carefully. Please don't blow this and, do something which you will all regret later. I hope you have the common sense, all you members of Parliament, to do what is right by your country and by the people who elected you. Thank you very much.